navigate the nation's waters. In Bladensburg, Maryland, I'm Maya Rodriguez.
Maya, thank you, and that will do it for us today. I'm Chris Stewart. Denver 7 News at 5 starts right now.
The truth is, this did unfold more quickly than we had anticipated.
2 decades, billions spent, tens of thousands of lives lost.
American troops cannot and should not be fighting in a war and dying in a war that Afghan forces are not willing to fight for themselves.
The president stands by his decision to pull out U.S. troops as the Taliban takes control of Afghanistan.
The U.S. now sending more troops back to save citizens and allies waiting to get out.
We can do this, and we can get thousands and thousands of people out.
Now watching those scenes unfold brings back painful memories for military families here in Colorado.
It's beyond a tragedy. It's unthinkable what's happening.
Nearly 20 years ago, U.S. troops drove the Taliban out of Afghanistan, and now Taliban militants have retaken control of that country and now the capital, Kabul. And it happened in just over a week. President Biden is now warning the Taliban not to interfere with U.S. evacuations from that country, promising, quote, devastating force if necessary. And the images coming out of Afghanistan are just devastating today, showing the desperation to flee that country. Thousands of people fled toward those planes departing Kabul's main airport today. U.S. officials say at least 7 people died in all that chaos, including some who fell from that jet as it took off. The Pentagon says U.S. troops killed 2 others who were armed there at the airport. Right now, another 1,000 U.S. troops on their way to Afghanistan to protect diplomats, bringing the total right now to 6,000.
Opinions on what is happening in Afghanistan and what the U.S. should or should not have done are across the board tonight. And that's why we're going 360, looking in depth at the key points, what this means for the country, how lawmakers are responding, and how this is impacting local veterans here in Colorado. But first tonight, President Biden, in his first address to the nation since the Taliban took over, he says he does not regret pulling out American troops.
I stand squarely behind my decision. After 20 years, I've learned the hard way that there was never a good time to withdraw U.S. forces.
The president placed some of the blame on the Afghan government and military. President Biden says he had received assurances from the now ousted Afghan president that Afghanistan's military would defend the country in the U.S. military's absence.
Afghanistan political leaders gave up and fled the country. If anything, the developments of the past week reinforced that ending U.S. military involvement in Afghanistan now was the right decision.
And looking closer tonight, President Biden also put some of the blame on former President Trump. Now, Biden says he inherited his deal his predecessor negotiated with the Taliban, that the U.S. forces would be out of Afghanistan by May of this year.
U.S. forces had already drawn down during the Trump administration from roughly 15,500 American forces to 2,500 troops in country. And the Taliban was at its strongest militarily since 2001.
Now, Republican Congressman Ken Buck of Colorado already tweeting out a response saying President Biden doesn't get to blame Trump for the Taliban taking over. Biden, he says, is the current president and should own this decision.
Another lawmaker from Colorado responding tonight, Representative Jason Crow. Today he was joined by veterans who served in Afghanistan and other lawmakers, including former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright.
The United States has a moral responsibility and a national security interest in ensuring the protection of these Afghan allies, as well as those who directly supported our military mission.
As a veteran himself, Representative Crow's main message was similar to Albright's, saying getting allies and troops safely out of the country should be the top priority.
We see you. We hear you. You have many friends in the United States, and we will continue to fight for you and bring you to safety with your families.
Now, Representative Crow also spoke directly to all veterans who served in Afghanistan over the past 20 years, saying their service will never be forgotten and they should always be proud of the impact they had on the Afghan people.
Denver7's Liz Gilardi joins us now at 5. And Liz, you spoke with a Gold Star mother from here in Colorado who says her son never could have imagined this collapse would happen so quickly.
Well, she definitely could not. And you know, you cannot talk about Afghanistan without talking about the sacrifice of the brave men and women in our military. I did have the honor of speaking with a Gold Star mother, and she says this is just unthinkable.
He went right out of high school, and he was 32 when he got killed.
Sergeant First Class Liam Nevins wanted to serve his country. His mom, Victoria Nevins, said they often talked about the mission in Afghanistan.
He had a great admiration for the Afghanis, and we used to talk a lot about it.
Now she's watching in horror. Images on TV show the country where her son fought to help people, where he died. She says it's hard to watch the collapse of Afghanistan knowing the sacrifices that were made.
I walk away from it. We can't throw our sons and daughters away like that.
Sergeant First Class Nevins was part of a special forces group out of Colorado. During his 3 tours in Afghanistan, his mom said he grew close to the Afghani people. She is also thinking about them as she watches the news.
It's traumatic. It's just traumatic to watch it. My pain and my sisters and brothers in the same pain, ours is nothing compared to what those families are going through there. And they did protect us. They protected my son.
Late today, President Biden said Afghanistan's fall to the Taliban happened faster than anticipated. Victoria says it's still unthinkable.
I think everybody was surprised by that. That's my sense. In watching the news, everybody's in shock. We've had so long to work this out and do this in a sane way. What went wrong?
And that's a question a lot of people are asking tonight. We also asked Victoria what her son might think if he was alive today. And she said he'd probably be angry, upset, sad. He'd probably want to go back over and help. Reporting live, I'm Liz Gilardi.
All right, Liz, thank you. And there are resources available for veterans who might be having a tough time watching what's going on in Afghanistan. In fact, we put together a list of nearly 30 mental health resources in Colorado. You can find that list right now on the denverchannel.com. And we also have the very latest of what's happening in Afghanistan on our free Denver7 Plus app. Download it now for your streaming device. Right now, Tropical Depression Grace is just drenching Haiti, of all places, just days after that country was hit by a 7.2 magnitude earthquake, and the death toll has climbed to at least 1,400 people. That number is expected to rise. More than 13,000 homes have been destroyed and thousands more have been damaged.
Right now, Tri-County Health is holding a meeting that could determine whether Douglas County students go back to wearing masks in school. This morning, Douglas County commissioners held an earlier meeting saying they will not be advising the district to mask up. Now, Douglas County Schools remains the largest district in Colorado where masks are currently optional. Our crews are listening in on that Tri-County Health meeting. We'll bring you the very latest tonight on Denver7 News at 6.
And tonight, Aurora City Council will hear the findings of a comprehensive report of the city's police department, the results of which Denver7 broke Friday night. The report lists 99 recommendations for APD, mainly pushing for more accountability from its officers. We'll have more on that tonight on Denver7 News at 10.